Hi, it's Nathan here, and today we're talking about working at heights procedures. So these are not a document that's explicitly required under the health and safety regulations, and it's not a document that is explicitly required under the ISO standards either, but it is a common hazard, particularly in like industrial settings and construction. So we do have a working at heights procedure. We do include it as an auxiliary document as standard with all of our systems. In terms of what content should go in there, you'll have early on sections where you talk about identification of different fall hazards. You'll probably cover the hierarchy of controls for falls or managing the risk of falls, which is similar but different to the general hierarchy of controls. It basically starts with, we need to eliminate the need to work at heights. Then it goes through fall protection devices and work positioning systems, then all the way down to fall arrest systems, which is like that's where we're wearing a harness, which is going to catch us if we fall. So it's interesting because when we think about working at heights, everyone automatically thinks, or most people automatically think about, oh yeah, that's harnesses. We need to wear harnesses. Where that's actually the lowest level of protection. And under the regulations, that is kind of the last resort. You need to try to implement other high level controls where you can, with the number one being work off the ground. I can give you a really good example of where working off the ground was very, very simple and could have saved a life. There's an example of a fatality where a guy was cleaning windows, and it wasn't like ground level windows. It was up off the ground, not particularly high, but needed a step ladder to do it. And he was up there cleaning windows, slipped, came down, hit his head, died. Really good example. Could have done it off the ground with an extendable pole. If they had a pole, with a squeegee on the end, they could have done that work off from ground level. And then, the other high level controls are things like work off a solid construction, which would be like a work off a building. You can have some work environments where they'll have like an actual structure that you work off rather than working off a ladder or working from an EWP. Then you have work positioning systems and fall prevention devices. Fall prevention devices is very sort of ambiguous, but in the regulations, it gives an example that a fall prevention device technically include a handrail, so edge protection. And then you have work positioning systems, which I think includes EWPs and also fall restraint technique. So fall restraint is where we're wearing a harness and we are attached to a lanyard or a rope, and that actually stops us getting to the edge. So it restrains us from getting to the edge, which is still, it's a lower order control, but it's better than fall arrest, which is fall arrest. We can fall, but we're wearing a harness that'll catch us. And that's the most dangerous fall protection method because A, you're still falling, you could hurt yourself on the way down, and you are also, there's a thing called suspension trauma. So those harnesses are designed to catch you and save your life. They're not designed to be particularly comfortable, and where the straps sit, like on the inside of your thigh, they can cut off blood supply to your legs, and it's called suspension trauma. Can lead to renal failure, which I believe is kidney failure, and you can be dead within minutes, and it has happened. So that's why a rescue plan is really important for fall arrest. Not really important, legally required for fall arrest systems. So in terms of what else will go in the procedure, it'll basically outline all the different types of working at heights that you do and how you manage those risks. So depending on the work environment, it could be scaffolding, use of trestles. A lot of places will have ladders. Also things like falling objects, like catch tow boards and tool lanyards, that sort of stuff. If you're riding one of these, I would start by reading the regulations. There's a small section on falls, and then it's also work over 2 meters is also in construction is also a high risk construction task. So you'll need a safe work method statement for it, and then go and read the managing risks of falls in workplaces code of practice. A lot of useful information in that. Contrary or in contrast to a lot of the codes of practice that aren't particularly useful, that is a good code, has some useful stuff in there. Also the section on ladders is very important because the vast majority of workplaces will at a minimum have a ladder. In terms of ladders, if you are using ladders, there's a bunch of rules. They need to be industrially rated. They need to be inspected before use. You can't do heavy duty work off a ladder. You need to maintain 3 points of contact. If you're using an extension ladder for access, it needs to be secured, top and bottom, or both if necessary. I think that's most of it. Hope that helps.